Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a sales wrap-up type of video, income disclosure, whatever you want to call it, for the month of July of 2020. So I have a new phone, which I film my videos on my phone, and so if I'm looking kind of weird, it's because I'm trying to place, remind my eyes to look in the center. So that's where the little lens thing is, whatever you want to call that. Super technical. Anyway, I'm Lauren. Thank you so much for joining me today. So I do these videos kind of to not only for myself to track my progress in seeing me grow this part-time hustle into a full-time job, but also most importantly to help all of you if you are interested in pursuing a part-time hustle or full-time career in reselling, and just to kind of go over the numbers a little bit, just to kind of give you an idea of what to expect essentially. And of course, there's a lot of different factors that go into the numbers. Not everybody's situation is the same. And, you know, I do go over a little bit of my personal situation. But yeah, so I go over my gross for the month and my net, and then what I actually end up paying myself. So I just think that the transparency is something that is very important and very much needed in this community if we're going to be helpful to one another. And I don't mind at all sharing all this stuff with you guys because it's not personal, it's business really. So and if this can help you, that would just be so wonderful to me. So all right, well, let's get started. So I have this pulled up on my computer. So I actually had a pretty good month. So everybody talks about the summer slowdown, and definitely it's there, it's happening, it's for real. But a couple other revenue streams helped really bump me up this month and get me to a really good number, and it gave me a really good ability to give myself a nice payout salary for the month. So my total gross sales, that's across all platforms, all streams of reseller income, was a grand total of $5,039.15, which is super great for, again, this is part-time work, you guys. You know, if you're wanting to break it down into hours, I spend anywhere from like 20 to maybe 35 hours a week, and that's including my sourcing. So, yeah, that's about like what I spend if you were to break it down by hour, but it just varies week to week. And even some weeks I've spent as little as like 10 or 15. So it just depends. So just as like a sales breakdown, so I made I had gross sales of $583 on Poshmark. I did not have any Poshmark consignment. That is something that I am doing away with. I'm doing away with consignment overall, which I've talked about this before, but I don't have anything left on Poshmark, I don't think, for consignment. My personal eBay sales for the month was a gross of $2,631.59. My eBay consignment gross, so that's a sales where I have some items in my inventory that belong to some clients, and when the item sells, I take a small percentage of that sale. The total gross, so that includes the entire gross, not my personal gross, was $881.81. It's a lot of 8s and 1s. Consignment store sales. I did take a lot of things to the local consignment stores this month. If you're interested in seeing a video about how I prep things and kind of a little bit of my strategies behind that, just let me know down in the comments below. It's going to vary from store to store, state to state, what your consignment stores are going to take. So that is something that you're going to have to kind of tailor to the needs of the stores in your area. But I think that a lot of the same principles can be applied, and it's a great way to make really fast cash without a lot of work involved. So that was a total of $321.75. And something something kind of exciting that happened. I was gonna make a video about it, but it's not long enough. It's not long enough of a story for me to make an actual video about it. But yeah, I sold some scrap metal jewelry, gold in particular, for $621 to a jeweler locally to me. So quickly, I'm going to tell you the story about that. So this is not something that is a revenue stream that I probably will come across very often. It was kind of like a, I don't know, dime a dozen, once in a lifetime, whatever you want to call it, situation. But anyway, so I got this stuff for free, and I got it on the side of the road. I got it in the garbage, out of the garbage, whatever you want to call it. So, story time, really quick. My husband and I we were passing through our neighborhood on our way to pick up some patio furniture, and we happened to see one of our neighbors had out a bunch of stuff on the curb, and it looked like she was going to have a garage sale but didn't, or maybe this was like leftover, because everything was very neatly organized, and she had things labeled, and she had a big free sign. So of course we had to stop and look, and my husband grabbed a couple things, and he saw a big box of costume jewelry and said, "Hey babe, do you want to look through this?" And of course I said yes. Which actually, that's separate from this, but I did find a lot of costume jewelry to list. I listed it in a big lot because there's just so much of it, and some of it was broken, but you can actually sell that stuff basically by the pound on eBay, and it does really well. So anyway, side note, I'm getting carried away. So that was part of it, but there was a little jewelry box on the top. It was kind of gross and mildewy because we had some rain earlier in the week, so it had been sitting there for a little bit, and she labeled it good stuff on the top, and so my husband and I were joking about, oh thanks honey for giving me the good stuff. But then I opened it, and it was pretty much empty except for, like, I'm gonna say about like this much, like a very small portion of jewelry. It was like single earrings, broken chains, that sort of thing. And I looked really closely, and I saw on a couple of them they were marked 10 karat, 14 karat, and I thought I saw 18 karat on one, but I was, you know, like, okay, well, hold on a second. This is gold. Somebody is just throwing this gold on the side of the road, like throwing it away. So I knew that I could sell that locally, which, if you didn't know this already, you can sell broken jewelry for like a scrap price. I would recommend that you go to a well-known local jeweler because they will tend to give you a lot more money than like a pawn shop or something like that, which I'm not sure if all pawn shops take broken jewelry. But anyway, so yeah, I took it into the jeweler the next day. Well, that evening, I guess I should say, I should backtrack a little bit. I cleaned everything up really quickly, got it in a little baggie. The next day, while I was running my errands, I decided to stop into the local jeweler, and I literally about fell out of my seat when the lady told me that she was offering me $621. It was kind of insane, you guys. That's totally, like, you know, I'm not saying that this is going to happen to you or can happen. I mean, it's totally like a right place, right time type of thing. But honestly, so much of this business is just that, you guys. You just got to be open and willing to take on whatever is offered to you. You got to see what is available and really just go for it. Look through things, look up comps, and just, yeah, be open to the things that the universe is going to provide you. So yeah, and then I actually got to keep one piece. It's just 10 karat gold, but it's this little, it's like a little grape leaf, with like two little leaves. One of them is like a rose gold, one of them is a yellow gold. And I actually lost my wedding band last year when I used to be a gig worker. I used to work for Shipped. If you don't know what that is, a grocery delivery service. And when I was doing one of my grocery runs, I lost my ring somewhere in between, like, delivering the groceries, and I'm not really sure what happened, but it was really sad. And I never replaced it just because I just didn't want to spend the money, and I just felt really guilty about it. But lo and behold, one of the rings actually fits me very well, and I don't know, it's just something about it. It's a little romantic and fun and endearing, and the fact that my husband found this for me in the garbage, so it just all worked out. So that's my strange story, you guys. Thanks for bearing through me stumbling through it. But yeah, so $621 from literal garbage, best flip to date. So excited about that. If you ever come across scrap gold, I mean any type of gold, the gold value is crazy high right now, so it is really definitely something you should keep your eye out for. Check estate sales, just anywhere, Facebook Marketplace. If you have some, sell it. I mean, it is hot right now, and of course I probably could have gotten a little bit more had I sold it myself, but because some of it was not marked, some of it that wasn't marked ended up being like 18 karat plus. I just didn't feel confident that I could ensure the buyer that, you know, it was the purity or whatever that it actually was. So anyway, very happy about that, and that's how I got my over $5,000 in sales gross for the month. So we need to break things down a little bit. We need to go through the fees, shipping, all that type of stuff. Took a little tea break. So total sales tax for the month, this is just an eBay thing, was $165.94. Sales tax is included in the gross when we're talking about PayPal. I still haven't figured out what the heck is going on with managed payments. I'm supposed to be switched over in the next 48 hours, but we'll see. So yeah, that is included in my gross. Total platform fees, this is for both platforms that I sell online, was $592.41. And of course, all of these don't apply to Consignment Store and to the jewelry, the scrap jewelry that I sold, because there's no platform fees with those, which is amazing. But anyway, so shipping discounts, that's just for Poshmark, was a total of $16.96. I talked about this in my last sales income disclosure video, that I'm not really offering shipping discounts anymore. I'm really trying to send offers through the bundle feature, even if it's just one item, to save myself that $2.11 or whatever it is per transaction shipping discount if I can avoid it. So far it's still working out pretty well. Total shipping costs for eBay was $784.01. Shipping was a lot this month, but I did ship a lot of really heavy things, so it is what it is. You can't really get around that. I buy all my labels through eBay. I have done pirate ship here and there, but I tend to find that the headache of trying to keep track of all that is not really worth it. So anyway, eBay does give you a discounted rate if you didn't know that. So consignment payout. So what I paid from that $881.81 gross was $411.39. So that leaves me with a total net of $3,068.44. which is great. I'm very happy with that number. That is pretty awesome. Again, we're in the summer slowdown. This is the slowest season for the line of work that I'm in. And yeah, I'm very happy with that number. So, okay, now, of course, that is not the number that I withdraw from. That is not what I put into my personal banking account. I have to factor in some other expenses on top of that, because this is a business, and I'm an employee technically of my business, and so I pay myself a salary, stipend, whatever you want to call it, probably salary, just based on what my additional expenses are for the month. So my total inventory expenses was $883.16. So that is a little bit on the high side still. Last month I had over $1,000, almost $1,200 worth of inventory expenses, and that was super high. So this month was a little bit less, but still higher than I would like it to be. But I'm okay with that for right now because I am still in growth mode. I'm really trying to build up my store, and long term, I wouldn't be spending that much of a percentage of my net sales on inventory just to clear things up. And of course, if this is something that you're doing super part-time, I wouldn't not be spending that much on inventory. I would be paying myself more versus investing more in inventory. But again, because this is something that I'm in for the long haul, I am really trying to make sure that my paychecks to myself are modest and that my reinvestments in my business are very plentiful. So that is the reason for that, but it could be better. And August is already a pretty slow month, but it is every single month. I feel like every start of the month is very slow, but I definitely want to get that number down a little bit for the month of August. Okay, so business expenses were a little high this month, $351.42. So I did have to spend a lot on shipping supplies. I did ship out a lot of heavy items this month, but also I had to replenish some of that. Plus, I'm really trying to get my focus on Q4, which is rapidly approaching and will be here before we know it. So I'm really starting to stock up on things so I make sure that I don't run out. And with mail being as slow as it is, and I buy a lot of my stuff online, I just really try to be ahead of it. And again, going back to the inventory actually for just a second, part of the reason that I'm spending a little bit more on inventory is because I'm sitting on a little bit more inventory than I normally do. Normally, what is that word anymore? I would be sitting on about a week's worth of inventory at a time. So meaning the inventory I'm listing would be from the previous week and so on and so forth. So that I always have a week's worth of inventory just in case something were to happen. But now I'm kind of in the position where I want to be about a month, have a month's reserve on hand at all times. Again, just to be cautious and on the safe side. So again, you have to think of all these things when you're factoring in your numbers and your expenses and how you want to allocate that net or your net sales for the month. Okay, so I'm rambling a bit, of course, as usual. So returns and refunds, I don't have a lot of these, but they do happen. That was $63.85, which was up a little bit from last month, but that's pretty typical for me. So very small percentage. Okay, so total additional business expenses was $1,298.43. So when you subtract my net sales from those additional expenses, I am left with $1,770.01, which is great. But I actually ended up paying myself $2,000, and I'll get into why in a second. So I gave myself a bonus of $229.99. I think I mentioned in the last sales video that I did that I didn't pay myself for the month of May. I did, of course, still do all my bookkeeping. I just did not pay myself. I will do that periodically if I want to allow myself to have a little bit more cash flow in my business bank account. And yeah, it just allows me to continue to be a debt-free business. It allows me to just make some more of those bigger purchases when the opportunity hits. And I had some, since I had such a great month and sales were great and I had the extra funds, I decided to give myself a little bit of a bonus. So being able to pay yourself $2,000, and of course, no taxes are figured into this, so everybody's tax situation is different. I'm not going to talk about taxes on this channel. Other than that, quick little mention. But yeah, being able to pay yourself $2,000 for part-time work that from a business that you own, that you are in control over, and that you set the hours for, is pretty pretty amazing. I feel like I'm getting to the point now where I'm really seeing the traction that I want to see. And of course, the jewelry situation definitely helped this month, but I don't think I'm too far off from being able to consistently pay myself that $2,000 a month with the progress that I've been making, and that just puts me one step closer to being at a full-time income. Still not there yet, but you know what? I'm loving this journey, loving every step of the way. I'm loving the struggles just as much as the wins. It's a lot, and there's a lot that goes into it. So I really hope that this video is helpful to any of you guys, even if it's just a little bit helpful, just to kind of break things down, because when you see that $5,000, you think gross, you think, oh my gosh, like that's crazy, that's great, and it is, but there's so much more that goes into it than just that gross. And I just think that the way that we as resellers in this community can really help others, it's just by being honest and letting others know that, you know, hey, there's all these other factors that go into it before you really break down to what you're able to take home from that. And I think that that's a learning curve to a lot of people when they're starting a small business, because it's not the same as a W-2 job. You know, your gross at your W-2 job is way different than a business gross. So, but anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the little bell notification so you don't miss any of my videos. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I will catch you next time. Bye.